Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Knicks on Top. I am your host, David from Top Bunk Sports, and the New York Knicks get outplayed by the Chicago Bulls and lose 135 to 125. It was not a pretty game, to say the least. The Knicks led one time in this game, and this was 8 minutes into the first quarter, 14 to 7. The Bulls will call a timeout, and after that, that would be all she wrote. All she wrote. The approach to the game for the Bulls changed. They were quicker than the Knicks on both ends of the floor. The pressure, they put a lot of pressure on the Knicks defensively. The Knicks really couldn't, they had to fight to get their buckets. They really couldn't get comfortable shots going. Jalen Brunson started off very well. It kind of stopped them a little bit. They were able to really, trap him a bit, and the ball really, it was moving. I will say that it was moving, but it was in a situation where guys really just couldn't get shots because every time the ball was moving, Chicago knew how to they knew how to switch very quickly. So it got to a situation where it's like the Knicks really had to like force themselves to get shots up. And in that first half, it was disgusting. That first half, we could not get anything going. By the second quarter, the Bulls went on like a 15 point run. They had a 15-point lead. They ended the half up 19. The Knicks were able to cut it 6 minutes into the third quarter. They were able to cut it to 5. But every time they kept building something in the second half, the game was just flat out drop. Right, the game will flat out drop for the Knicks because the Chicago Bulls always had an answer for the Knicks. And again, you're not going to win like that. If you can't get key stops within the game and your opponent just keeps answering back and they're the ones with the lead, they're you know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to win like that. You have to get stops, and they got multiple stops. Especially in that fourth quarter, they got multiple stops where they were able to at least cut the lead to two, right? Remember, it was 113. It was 113, well, to three at one point. It was 113 to 110. And then, they after that, the Bulls hit a three. Then they hit another three. So they kept chipping away towards the end of the fourth quarter. And then that, the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, the defense died. Not even the defense. The Knicks just weren't able to make shots. And you kind of saw within the last 2 minutes of that fourth quarter, they kept pressuring. They pressured up their defense, and smart by Billy Donovan and the rest of the team to understand the feel of the game and the situation that they were in the last 2 minutes, and it helped them. They're undefeated for a reason. They came into this game with a 4-0 record. They're 5-0 after tonight, and the Knicks, are 0-3 on this road trip. They go back to New York to play a 7-game road trip, and ironically, they play the Bulls. So they play the Bulls at home. So they do get some revenge in store where they can go back to 500. But right now they're a game below 500, 2-3, and they just went 0-3 on the road trip. Not a good look for Mike Brown to start. Not panicking, right? Not panicking. Still got to give the guy some time. Still got to give him some time to adjust with his lineups and all that. But not a good look. The bench was horrible today. The bench was absolutely horrible. They they couldn't really give you nothing. There's really nothing much, to say. And we'll look at the box score, and we'll look at the all the stats and everything like that. I'll actually put that up for you guys right now. I wanted to kind of put what Mike Brown was saying, but I can't find the clip. And I want to keep this short because there's really nothing much to say, man. It was a tale of what team just played better tonight. The Bulls obviously played better tonight. You saw that. The Knicks defensively, especially in that first half, I think when they put themselves in that hole, even though they were able to give themselves some momentum to come back, defensively, you could just tell they didn't have it, and that's the nature of it all. But I will go and I will show you guys the stats for today's game. So obviously, you look at the team stats. They shot they shot 49% from the field. They shot 40% from three. They were 17 to 23 from the free throw line. They shot 73% from the free throw line, 39 rebounds, 12 offensive rebounds, 27 defensive rebounds. And look, they were out rebounded defensively, 35-27. Assists, because Chicago had more assists, 31-27. Uh, Knicks only had 3 steals. Chicago had 8 of them. Knicks only had 5 blocks. Chicago had 6 of them. Total turnovers. Knicks had not. Knicks had 12. Chicago only had 9. Right, and it's not by a large margin, but still, those literally play a factor into all that. Right, points in the paint, 54. Right, Knicks only had 38 points in the paint. 25 fouls to Chicago's 22 fouls. And look, even this right here. This is very important right here. Largest lead, right? Knicks' largest lead was 8. Their largest lead was 22. Again, I that to me that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. And this team on paper is way better than what we know they can be. I want to go to some more advanced stats just to kind of give you guys the other stats that weren't here, because I think it's very important that we talk about that. And I'll get into what Chicago brought to the table on their end that kind of made it so difficult for the Knicks to play well. I spoke about the field goal. I spoke about the free throws and the rebounds and the steals. Um, Points off of turnovers, like I said, the Chicago had 25, the Knicks had 12. Like I said, that's very important. Fast break points, Chicago had 9, New York had 7. Assists, 31 okay, so read most of that. So yeah, it's they outplayed them in all facets of the game today. They outplayed them in all facets of the game today. It wasn't even close. Again, defensively, this team could not get anything going. They were very slow. They again they the problem with this team too is that they don't know how to set a pick. They don't know how to set a pick. They'll stay there, and then when the player's coming towards them, little tap and they'll move. Yo, set a firm pick. This team, you watch this team and the way they set picks, they can't set a screen. They can't. And I think that's a big issue that I think Mike Brown has to address in practice. It's a really, 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 really big issue. But if you look at the box score right here, right? Like I said, the bench didn't give you nothing. I'll go to the full box score, right? OG had a beautiful game today, right? 26 points. He was 10 to 13 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, only 1 turnover. Karl-Anthony Towns, 22 points, 6 of 14. Wasn't that great. 1 of 5 from 3. So he could be a little bit better. Mitchell Robinson in his first game back, I really wasn't expecting him anything crazy. I mean, look, he 11 rebounds is the most you ask of him. 4 points. Mikal Bridges, once again, having an outstanding start to the year, proving the doubters wrong already. 23 points. He shot 9 of 14 from the field. He was 4-8 from 3. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. But again, the bench, Yabusele shot a 3. That was it. That was it. He really wasn't like, again, when you're in basketball, yeah, you're affecting the game by scoring. But if you're not getting the ball a lot and you're on the court, what are you doing off ball to create some momentum? You know what I'm saying? So he really wasn't doing anything. You kind of saw he barely played in the second half. He didn't even play in the fourth quarter. Jordan Clarkson, 1 of 4 from the field. Oh man, and if Clarkson has to still get used to everything and find his way in, but as of right now, you can't even. I don't like what I'm seeing from Clarkson so far. Josh Hart. I think Josh Hart's the topic of the conversation. 4 points, 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. Brother, he's a frustrating one because, and I know everybody has their start to the year, whether you're starting off good and whether you're starting off bad, but, decision makings. If you're going to drive, bro, drive to the basket and lay that shit up. He does it a lot, but as of recent, he's doing it over and over and over where he drives and then he'll try to make a turnaround to try to reset. There's no time to reset, bro. Get aggressive. Get aggressive. And that's my issue with him. He's not being aggressive. He's just trying to find a guy to make an extra pass. It doesn't matter. Get aggressive and start getting to the basket. Because when Josh Hart is doing that, Josh Hart's Josh Hart's making a positive impact. We saw it last year. We saw it the year before. I need him to be, especially if he's going to come off the bench. You're a huge big piece for this bench right now because of the veteran leadership that you can bring. And if you're playing like that, what's the point of even having you here, man? It's just the honest truth. Um, Miles McBride, first game back. There's nothing really bad I could say about Miles. 8 points. Yeah, I know he was 3 of 9 from the field. He was 2 of 5 from three, but he was able to get key stops. Um, again, one steal, but able to move the ball, able to get comfortable. You kind of saw he hit a clutch three in the fourth quarter to kind of bring us up within, I believe it was three. Again, as long as you're doing the stuff off ball and you're not getting the ball like that much, that's all I care about. And you know how much of a big piece Deuce is. This is why Mike Brown left him in the with the starters, because he understood defensively he is my best perimeter defender. So I gotta keep him in there because yes, he can shoot, and yes, he could create shots off the bounce, off the dribble, but he's also a great defender. So he it works him in both favors, correct? So I'm not too mad about what he did, but other than that, again, this is the second straight game where the bench for the New York Knicks, they haven't given you anything, and that's really, and again, we're only 6 games in, right? I'm not concerned, right? I feel like Mike Brown is gonna get everything rolling. We're just starting. People want us to become like the San Antonio Spurs, who are 5-0. No, where you're gonna go, they're gonna go through their trials and tribulations as well as we are. Look at the Indiana Pacers, right? How as much as everybody doesn't like them, look how big of a difference Tyrese Halliburton makes to that team. He's not playing, and they're 0-5. So again, teams are gonna go through their rough stretches in the beginning, but like I've always said, I'd rather them go through their stretch now and let Mike Brown figure out his first year in his new team now than having to be like, damn, it took him up until January, February to start figuring this shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, have it now so you know what you're going in for the rest of the season, and you ain't gotta worry about it come playoff time. Other than that, man, yeah, they play like trash in the first half, picked it up in the second half. It was very disgusting to see, but you could see the difference in the second half. I mean, in the fourth quarter, it was back and forth, 35 to 34, but in that third quarter was how where everything shifted for the Knicks. Again, they outscored them 38 to 28. They won the quarter by 10 points. So that right there, all you had to do was keep the pressure up defensively, because when you notice, right, in that third quarter, every time they put the pressure and they got to stop in the third quarter, the Knicks were able to finally get in a rhythm, and that's when OG started hitting his big shots. McHale started hitting his big shots. Jalen Brunson was getting in a groove, in certain times. Cat was able to drive to the basket a couple times and get certain calls. It was probably like one or two, but he was able to get a layup and be aggressive. And this is what I want from Cat. When your threes are not falling, I need you to be aggressive, bro. I need you to be aggressive. It's not in your game. It's not in your game, bro. But you need to add that because you are a 7-footer that's going to be playing the four if Mitch Robinson can stay healthy. And you need to work on your post up game. You need to be more aggressive, bro. I know you love to shoot and you can make that bitch. But if it's not falling in a certain game and we need you to score, I need you to start working inside in your interior game. There's one tweet that I wanted to, it was my tweet, but I always bring up the fact that Mike Brown, he preaches fast-paced basketball. He preaches, he wants the Knicks to do this, right? Quickness on both ends, right? So I tweeted this, and obviously it didn't get crazy recognition, but I was like, in my watching this Chicago Bulls team, I'm like, damn, no wonder why they're undefeated. Dude, they do exactly what Mike Brown is preaching, literally. And I tweeted that here. I'll show you right now. I will literally tweet that right here so you guys can see it. Show you, not tweet, excuse me. All right. So this was a halftime, down 19 at the half, getting outplayed at on and getting outplayed in every aspect of the game right now. Speed and athleticism, especially on the defensive side, is killing the Knicks. Hopefully the buzzer beater by McHale, which I didn't even see, gives them a spark into the third quarter, which it did, right? They just weren't able to keep executing and keep adding to their momentum because the Bulls found an answer for every momentum, right? The Bulls are playing exactly how Mike Brown wants the Knicks to play, moving the ball and playing with the fast pace on both ends, and it's killing the Knicks right now. Only good thing is that they're making shots now, but get killed in transition defense. And that's what happened today, man, especially in the second half. They were able to make shots. They were able to move the ball better. They were able to read the defense. But every time the Knicks got on defense, Chicago found ways to score, man. They were popping threes like nothing. They were reading the defense, and they noticed, yo, the defense is weak. The defense is weak. And again, it's funny that this kid gets a lot of shit for I'm not gonna say the full thing. Everybody knows about this guy right here, Josh Giddey. But Josh Giddey was a key piece for OKC. OKC took the chance, traded him to Chicago, and you're seeing he's running the point. This dude is running the point. And he's sharing the ball, sharing the rock, reading the floor, right? Looking for knowing where his teammates is at, and he scores 32 points. He was 12 of 21 from the field, and he was 4 of 6 from three. Like I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the to the box score real quick, just so you guys can see. Let's look at his thing. Look, 32 points. He had 10 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 block. He was 12 of 21 from the field. He shot 50% per 7 from the field. That is absolutely nuts. That is crazy. And you see a big difference, man. The confidence on this kid and the way he's able to distribute the basketball, find his guys cutting, making the extra pass, not having to be selfish. He doesn't play selfishly. He plays very unselfish, and this is why he's a key piece to that team, because again in OKC, that's what he was doing. He was finding his guys. He wasn't playing selfish basketball. And when he scores. That's what makes him so good. So another factor with it is just that they couldn't stop him. The Knicks had no answer for Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey got whatever he wanted tonight, and they just couldn't answer him. But yeah, man, I don't really got much. I think I've said much that I had to say. The Knicks fall 0-3 in this road trip. They, like I said, they're going back home. The first game at home is November 2nd, where they actually play the Bulls and they could get some revenge and take one on their home court. But there's a lot of things they got to fix up. The lineup, the lineup for Mike Brown has to be fixed. I know he's toying with it, seeing what he got, seeing what he doesn't got, but we at some point we gotta get to a consistent lineup and start winning these games that we have to, because we're much better than the Chicago Bulls. And I know people give them respect like I do because of the way that they play. They play like a Mike Brown system. If Mike Brown is saying, yo, I want to play fast, going back and forth, then that's what they're doing. And they're sharing the ball. It's no stagnant offense. No stagnant. Everybody's getting a touch, whether they're shooting or whether they're making the extra pass. That's what it is. And that's a credit to Billy Donovan, because he's building that mentality. And you saw it throughout the game. How many times in that third quarter were they falling apart and they were able to pick themselves back up and answer us and keep the game out of reach for the most part. So, it's a credit to them. They're 5-0 for a reason. The Knicks gotta tighten it up on both ends, and they gotta be smarter. Keep moving the ball more and finding the right open shot and not trying to force it, especially if if you want to be able to create a better rhythm for yourself. And then first year under a Mike Brown system, I get it. It's tough, but you learn as you go. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna end it here. I appreciate y'all. This is my Knicks on Top post game recap against the Chicago Bulls. The Knicks will be heading home after failing to have a winning record on this 3-game road trip. With that being said, make sure you guys follow, like, share, and subscribe to the Top Bunk Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you guys follow me on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Top Bunk Sports. And appreciate you guys for always showing love and support. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. So with that being said, I will catch you guys on the next Knicks on Top video. Until then, catch you on the next vid. Peace out.